Welcome to Gamble and Finn, Larger Than Live, the show
are you sure?
with so many intros that we want to make sure you see them and hear them all before we actually get going here from the back 40 at House Gamble at the Oasis.
Some people have an issue with being on before they know it.
Yes.
We're trying to get on.
How are we looking?
Right?
We don't know.
We don't know, yes. I know how certain things are looking.
Yeah,
not good.
We'll get to that here in a
Yes.
minute. A lot has happened since we checked in with you guys a week ago out at the Starlight Drive-In, and we will get to that. Now, as a matter of fact, when we get to that, we'll talk about why we haven't gotten to it just yet, because that's what smart people do. Anyway, it is Gamble and Finn again. House Gamble here in the back 40. It's gorgeous out tonight.
It is.
And
delightful.
This shirt's like super comfortable. I think I might wear this again on our bonus.
You may
edition
never take that off
on
again.
Wednesday night, and we'll tell you more about what that means as well too. But we're here kind of in our other office. We're on our home turf. The other office space that we've talked about has been Starlight Drive-In. But the one that we talked about that's a big part of our show is our friends at Fueled Collective.
Right.
And I know, are we going to run the graphic? Do we have any idea what's happening behind the scenes? Let me know. When we're going to do it in what? 3, 2, 1.
There you go. I really like it out there, too.
I do, too.
It's, they're great partners of ours, but I like the fact you can go and you can sit in a number of, they're different vibes depending on what you're working on. Great audio, video. You can host events there. If you choose, you can have a beverage.
Yes, you can.
Or two,
and
if you choose.
I think one of the things, when I first heard about it, I'm like, Fueled Collective, okay, I don't get it. I don't get the name. Once you've been in there, you completely get the name because it's fueling creativity. It's fueling the collective spirit.
Till we come in.
You can have, then we come in and dumb it down maybe a little bit.
People leave.
But you could go in and just kind of hang out, have your meetings, all the ones that people were normally having at Starbucks, which just pissed off people that wanted a place to sit down. Now you can go in and you can do anything that you want. You can get a conference room. Something like my buddy Joe, he works for Pandora, and their offices are actually in there.
Right.
They've reserved space. But it's kind of cool. It's office space for people who don't always need office space, really. And we've had an opportunity, and I think this is going to be really cool for you, and we'll get to the showdown and some other things with the high school football later, but for you to be able to do with those who you typically meet with in a really cool venue.
Well, we have a new venture that we're working on that people will find out in due time. We're working through that now, so we'll be meeting up there, and we met up there for a little brainstorming, as they like to say, session.
Yes.
Oh, that's good.
I would say there was that brainstorming session that was at 100% chance of humidity that day. When we were in the room.
Yes, you are correct.
But again, Fueled Collective, if you haven't had a chance to check it out, look it up, and it's expanding around to different cities. I think there's some really cool stuff on tap. Speaking of on tap, like you said, the bar, you can hang out there and as your membership, but we wouldn't tell you about it if we didn't believe in it and we didn't use it. So
and again, if you're someone who doesn't need maybe the office, and I know a number of people at different companies and ventures are trying to figure out of all this where they go from here, it's a good alternative.
Well, and lest we sound just like a commercial, which we're not.
We're the last
this
thing
is
from
sort of part of what we're continuing to talk about, and that is the ability to pivot. We're going to have a guest on Wednesday, Catherine Nero, who has absolutely, you remember her from Channel 9, but over the last 2 years has really pivoted with her career after being unceremoniously booted from her 20-year gig.
Yeah, 20 years at the station, 15 years as the anchor of Good Morning Tri-State.
But again, the whole thing is just about what's next. So Fuel Collective is like what they figured out years ago. What's the next interpretation of office space?
Sure. Yeah.
So what is the next thing that's going to happen with the schools that are going back? And we'll get to what that means with football. But just very quickly, we took Minnie Finn to school her freshman year just a little over a week ago.
Right.
And there has already, Fred, been a letter out from the dean.
Yeah, I bet there
saying,
has been, yeah.
Look, I mean, it might, if I may translate, look, shitheads, we've done all of this for you guys.
Right.
We've put you in hotels. We've spread you out in dorms. We've done all of this different stuff. And we're going around and we're seeing parties with no masks and no social distancing or whatever. Here's what happened at UNC. Here's what's happening at Notre Dame.
Right.
Here's what's happening everywhere. We got one chance to do this right. If you want to be able to stay here and do this, then we got to get it together. And I don't know what it's – I mean, they've moved 1 week worth of online learning to now mid-September. Yeah. And if you think I'm interested in paying for an entire semester
that's
of online instruction, I am not.
Well, nor should you be, and that's a huge issue. It's kind of that bait and switch where a lot of colleges and universities, right, wrong, or indifferent, are getting students to campus, and then you're there, you're in your residential housing, whatever that may be, and then you're kind of locked in. Now, I can tell you it's very interesting. I'm teaching as an adjunct professor in the College of Business at Northern Kentucky University. Classes started last week, and, man, I'm telling you, when I got there, the campus, normally it's 9:25 class on Tuesday, Thursday. And that's if you go Tuesday, Thursday, 9:25, 10:50, maybe 1:15, that's kind of prime time. I mean, normally hard to get in, traffic, tons of people walking.
Ghost town.
I walked into a vacant building, and I know this will come as a stunning development to you. The first day I couldn't get in the damn classroom. And I couldn't but this is funny, though.
Uh-huh.
So last year, they had all of the classrooms open because typically you got some adjuncts or people, whatever the case may be. So literally, I walked around this entire building, and I'm like, I couldn't find anyone. I went into a professor's office. I tried to go down, and I found somebody, and the guy said, yeah, I can help you. I can let you in. And it came to my attention when I left, there was one class waiting to go in the classroom. I didn't see anyone else in the building hardly.
Yeah.
Because most people are working remotely. Essentially, you've got, depending on class size and based on classroom availability, determines whether you're all virtual, whether you're hybrid, some on Tuesday, some on Thursday, or whether you're all in class.
Right.
And I got to tell you, this group was great. I had, half the class Tuesday, half Thursday. Everybody wore their face covering. Man, me trying to talk for an hour and 15 minutes. And I looked out and I thanked them. I said, look, I feel bad for this is not the college experience that any one of you wanted to have. You have to feel bad for them.
Right. Well, and you were wearing the cloth mask. Would there be any benefit to you wearing like the face shield?
Well,
or would that just be amplifying your voice right back into your own face?
Well, you know what it is, and then you'll laugh at me with this because I'm wearing the one, and it had like a loose string on the inside. So half the time I'm talking, I'm like eating string. And finally I just went, well, what I found is, and this is ridiculous, but I mean, I literally pulled the mask just out, kept it on, but away from me a little bit because you sound muffled.
Yeah.
And it's weird. I can't even tell you what most of those students, if I saw them outside that classroom, wouldn't even know what they look like.
Well, you know what? Again, I have to think bank security right now is just for the last 3 or 4 months been at an all-time edge of their seat moment.
No question.
So as school comes back, and and before we go further into that, just a quick roll call. Stacy's on, and Joe and a handful of others. Sadowski. Mike Combs, our boy Combs.
Oh, there you go.
He's checking us out. We appreciate that. Decker's on board. Handful of others. Jimmy Krauser. We appreciate you. Tom Thomas watching as well.
Well, hang on. Before you get to that, I want to say, because Skyline Chili, this is the essence of the Skyline Chili brand, and that is you. So it was a tradition for you and your daughter to go on Sunday to the Lila Avenue. There are 2 in Milford. This one's on Lila Avenue in Milford. Keith. And his son, they're proprietors. They do a great job. We've hosted pep rallies out there for Milford High School. But you would go on Sunday, and you've been going for how many years?
Counter for 10 and a half years.
Okay.
Maybe a little longer.
And obviously, like typical with Skylines, you get to know the people there. They get to know you. And so, I mean, you got your name up on their marquee when it was your birthday.
Multiple times.
Yes.
It didn't happen this past year, and I'll be honest with you, I was a little hurt.
Were you now?
Yeah, stupid little kid got his name up there instead of me.
Well, you know why? Because you're now at an age where they no longer need to recognize, and you shouldn't bemoan that.
I'm older than the sign. I probably shouldn't be on it.
So so literally, they took you back, right, to when you and Minifin started going there.
Yeah.
And what was it? 2 hot dogs plain on a plate,
just
right?
Just the 2 plain hot dogs on the plate, a little thing of Oreos and some crackers. and next to my four-way, I snapped the picture, sent it off to her, and I said where it all began. And she sent back the crying emoji, said, "OMG, the wieners on a plate or hot dogs on a plate."
Yeah, but see, that's so cool. I mean, those are the kind of things in times like we've been having that really, that's what should make you smile a little bit. You know,
it really did, and it was cool. And I put together
that?
a little. I know. Look at you.
I'm starting to
I'm
not feel well.
Quite sure who you are.
Okay,
I think it's Gamble. I'm Finn. We're at Gamble's house. I'm not sure what this is.
Don't forget, like, share. Make sure you check out our customized URL on YouTube.
And subscribe. Yes.
Subscribe. I forgot to subscribe. That's kind of a key.
Yeah, that's the key
right,
part
it
of
is.
it. It don't cost nothing.
No, right.
Hey, Furball's watching. We got some
All right.
Andy Furman news that we're going to share with
do.
you here in just a little while.
Absolutely, we do.
As well, and Barb and a host of others. But, yeah, that was a great moment for me. To sit in there with the guys. It had been 3 months that we had sat in the restaurant since I had been in there, and I tell you, man, it's encouraging to see the things that still matter to you matter as much to them.
Right. Oh yeah,
and kudos.
Well, they pay attention.
Kudos to them for that. Now,
probably embarrassing to look at those two lonely hot dogs and a little thing of Oreos, and then look at the size of the crap of the great chip. No, wait, it's the inverted four-way, right?
Inverted four-way with onion with extreme cheese, extra cheese. Now allow me to finish the order.
Oh my!
I said, don't worry. Those two won't go to waste, so they made those two into cheese conies, and I ate those two.
Of course. Well, you know what? I'm not going to lie. I would have done the exact same thing. For me, I'm more of a five-way.
Yeah.
But I've gotten, since I'm low-carb now, I love just a bowl of chili, big cheese on the side. I love me some Chilitos.
Yeah, I do that,
There
too.
really isn't anything I won't eat there,
I've been
to
doing
be
a lot of
perfectly
that at home. What's that?
Oh, friends of my wife from college.
Barb and
Craig
from
Columbus.
What about them?
Yeah.
They're watching?
They're not
Good
listening. They're
Lord.
watching. Hopefully they have a blindfold on.
Isn't there anything better to do in Columbus tonight? Good
I can
God,
answer
I thought
that.
Columbus was
No.
interesting. Steve Kilgore's on board. We appreciate you guys. Thank you. But the whole thing was just about getting that first week under her belt at school.
Right.
She is loving it. She's thriving, hoping she's able to stay there. They've got a pretty good program put together for quarantine if anybody gets it, so on and so forth. But I think she needs to have that experience of being away. She really, really does. Now, closer to home,
right,
with everybody going back to school, and I mean, every couple hours.
Not everybody.
Well,
those who are.
But every couple of hours, it seems like there's a new directive coming out of the governor's office, either across the river or across the river, depending upon which side of the river you are on, or in Indiana for that matter. So what kind of chaos has that thrown what you're doing with Skyline and with the Showdown?
Well,
I really don't know.
Well, I mean, really, we have to follow, and basically, like last year we instituted for the first time, we had a partnership with Fox 19 Now and Cumulus, and we did some radio and TV, Joe Daneman and Jeremy Rao, where we had tailgates.
Right.
Big gatherings. I mean, we had our kickoff, last Friday was Lawrenceburg at East Central. We were at that game last year at Lawrenceburg. Really cool. Had a massive tailgate lot. No more tailgate. I mean, you can't literally, no gatherings pre, post game, whatever. So we can't do a lot of the in-game promotions, but here's what we can do. This event was designed to celebrate, to highlight, to showcase the quality of high school football, and we're still going to do that. We're going to do a lot of digital media, a lot of different interviews and leading up, more promotion up to the game. And I mean, I know that's crazy because there are restrictions on crowds.
Whether you can go or not.
It's parents only, but live streaming, the OHSA lifted the ban on that. You used to not be able to do that on Friday.
That's
so
good.
Most schools are doing that to allow people the opportunity. One of the favorite things we do is we do pep rallies for schools all fall long at Skyline Chili, at the neighborhood Skyline Chili. Well, obviously, when your restaurant's at limited capacity, I would suggest to you when we do a pep rally, football team, band, cheerleaders, dance team, fans, we're probably at 150 to 200% of capacity, inside and outside. So this is a year you just can't do that.
Right.
I mean, and we will follow. I mean, it's a shame, but we understand.
Right.
I mean, we're going to do what we have to do. We're not causing any problem. You look at an athletic director. I mean, these people suddenly, it's hard enough to run a normal game. Now you've got to figure out. I mean, we've had a call at least once a week with all the GCL athletic directors, and they talk among themselves, and it's really intriguing for me because I listen. So a couple of them had St. Xavier and Elder had soccer matches Friday night, kind of a good rollout to test everything.
Right.
They're marking certain, every other row and putting space between seats and one way in and one way out. I mean, And some of these, and you have the other piece to the puzzle is some facilities are not, it's easy to say, have them go in this way and out the other way. Well, that's nice when you can do it. Well, what do you do when there's a restroom and there's one door?
Well, some of them have said, you have to go out and around the building and come back in a different way and all this. I mean, but the point that you just made a moment ago was, and I think this is the key to this whole thing, is coming through all this with some sense of consistency.
Right.
So you may not be able to do the things you always did, but all the same people are there still trying to make sure that it happens. So to Skyline's credit and all the ADs, and I mean, it's a 6-game season. It is absolutely, like we talked about with baseball, which we'll get to in a moment, a sprint versus a marathon. It's that consistency and knowing that the people that are, well, even, this past week, EBN announcing there's going to be fireworks.
Yeah.
They're going
you just have to kind of figure out a way to do it.
Yeah, they're going to do it. I don't know. It said from an undisclosed location. If I was them, I'd be disclosing it ASAFP.
Right.
But who knows? But the bottom line is the consistency of that. There won't be the asterisk year for that.
Well, but I think
you won't miss it. You know
but something you bring up that is interesting is every school, and this bothers me when leadership basically kicks it back to all the different districts to make their own decisions.
Yeah.
Because, I mean,
it's abdication of.
Well, you're looking for guidance. I mean, it's better, to your point, it's better to be consistent. So now in Kentucky, they're sticking with the current plan, which is to start in mid-September. They're behind Indiana and Ohio, but now, each district has to essentially decide what it wants to do. So you can imagine that cluster. We want to do this. We're going to do that. It's just not going to be easy.
Yeah, well, the thing that I think what I saw on Twitter the other day that spoke volumes, it was a retweet of one of the governors. I don't even remember, probably Ohio, but it said the decision is, and then parentheses, blank, to be made by you. Right. And after all of this time, to just throw it back into the laps of the people who are sitting around going, tell us what we're supposed to do, that frankly is nonsense.
Well, and I think
that's not leadership.
Most of the athletic directors, and especially a lot of the football coaches I've talked to, have just said, look, I just wish they would have come to some conclusion a couple months ago.
Yeah, we could have started working on it.
Right.
Yeah.
So anyway,
all right,
crazy.
So we were talking about consistency. So that sort of dovetails into the anti-consistency. That would be your Cincinnati Reds. And I got to be honest with you, we talked about this at the very beginning with 60 games, this being a sprint with this pitching staff versus being a marathon. At first you didn't want to say anything about Bell, and he was over-managing and working pitchers, and were they getting in whether they should be? Should they have a certain number of innings? Yada, yada, yada. I think they have completely screwed themselves with how many games left?
Well, they're 11-15 going into a series that begins tonight in Milwaukee. Yeah. They're on the road, then they come home. So they're 26.
26 games.
So they got 34 left.
Yeah.
And they're not in the postseason right now.
Not right now,
and I mean, I guess I just watched them play St. Louis. St. Louis, which had all the COVID issues, which is way behind. And the Reds lost 3 of 4. And you can't say on the road, because on the roads, there's nobody there. I mean, except cutouts. John Daly.
The John Daly cutout was very vocal. But I do believe I saw a German Shepherd and a black lab in the stands as well.
I like the pets. I like the animals. But here's what I would tell you. Top of the rotation, Luis Castillo hasn't been very good. Trevor Bauer, Sonny Gray have both been outstanding. Bullpen's been mostly down. But I've been more disappointed with the offense. I mean, you look at this offense. They brought in Mike Moustakas. He's been in and out of the lineup. They brought in Nick Castellanos, and he was off to a tear, but then Winker's been outstanding. Yeah. But then Votto's been struggling. Suarez
you mispronounced it.
Oh, Votto, my
Joey
bad.
Votto.
Votto's been laboring. Suarez, I know he had a home run yesterday, but man, he is not doing so good.
No, I believe his batting average has a 1.
It does. Senzel's been out. Barnhart. I mean, Casale. I mean, here's what I would tell you. If they can't hit a streak where they win 9 of 10, 6 straight, whatever, they're in trouble. And I would tell you, I think most people, most Reds fans, including myself, when you looked at it on paper, thought they got a shot to win the division, maybe to compete for the NL.
Yeah.
But now when you look at the Dodgers, who've won over 20 now, and they're rolling, and you look around, you're starting to already see separation.
Well, and it wasn't going to take long to see that in a situation in a 60-game season. Now, you talk about Reds in trouble.
Oh, boy.
Here we go. A week ago, we were at the Starlight Drive-In. How are we looking was the question.
Yeah.
We joked about the fact that the answer was always not good, and it became kind of a silly thing within the halls of the radio stations back
Sometimes
then.
not good at all.
Yeah. Then it got really not good about a day later, and you and I talked about this, and it's like, let's sit back, because we thought, well, maybe we'll go on and we'll do a couple-minute blurbs here and there about what we think. But I wanted to, and you agreed, and we sit back and just let some of this shake out and see what happens. But I would tell you, Tom Brenneman, that situation, when you saw that apology, the gravity of what was about to happen was absolutely sitting on his shoulders. And I'm not saying it shouldn't have been, but we haven't expressed any thoughts on this just yet. You've had a week to digest this. What do you think?
Well, and this for me, I mean, I know Tom Brenneman. When he was at Channel 5 years ago, after he left Channel 5 and went up to do the Cubs games, I went up there for a weekend. He was kind enough to get me tickets to a whole weekend series, Friday, Saturday, Sunday for the Phillies. Went out with him. I mean, I've known him a long, long time. Obviously, we talked to his dad, Marty, last Monday. And, I know nothing. And, I hear a lot of people. I know some people think he's too critical of the Reds. A lot of people say he's arrogant. I mean, this guy's done a lot, man. He's been a Cubs TV guy, Diamondbacks. He was the number 2 crew for Fox. Think about that.
For football.
For Fox, for NFL football.
Yeah.
I struggle with this. I really and truly do it. And here's why I struggle with this. Because anybody who has been on air, radio or TV, I guarantee you, if they tell you they haven't, they're lying. Maybe Lance, because he may not have.
Yes.
Has said something disparaging at some point, not on the air, right?
Right.
Everybody has. I have. I know we have.
Well,
we all
you
have.
and I have almost been caught saying things not about a particular group, but about a couple of particular individuals who would not have appreciated
everybody
having heard it.
But when I hear these these self-righteous people come out and this and that bothers me. But I got to be honest. Here's where I'm conflicted. And you know me, we usually take one side and we don't waver.
Yep.
But I understand. The Reds came out with a statement that night. I get it. Now make sure you understand this. Tom Brenneman is hired by the Reds, right?
Yep.
He's hired by the Reds. He's hired by Fox to do NFL, but he's a Reds hire to be their play-by-play broadcaster.
Yes.
So he's been suspended indefinitely. He hasn't been fired from the Reds yet.
Which made their note weird because they said zero tolerance.
Well,
so everybody immediately went
horrific,
for them. Like, what
zero
does
tolerance.
Zero tolerance mean if he's still...
But I understand. I mean, I get it from the Reds' perspective. I mean, you can't have... Now, bear in mind, too, this was not on the local broadcast. You didn't hear it here. You heard it if you were MLB or you were in other markets and somebody
it didn't take long to make its way here within 15
social
minutes.
Media, because somebody heard it, they recorded it, they sent it back here. The Reds had to take a little bit of time, and then you knew it couldn't be good when he was removed. Strange. I guess maybe they had to think about it, figure out their plan of action, etc. And I've never heard a guy make an apology and call a home run while a play was going on.
Yeah, I don't think that helped the case.
No, correct.
But I think that is the nature of his
I would agree.
professionalism from the ball game standpoint. But I almost got a feeling from his apology that he was asking to remove himself from the broadcast and have Jim Day take over. But see, a lot of what you're focusing on is the fact that he said it on the air and people heard it. And so many other people are saying, well, who was he talking to? Why didn't they stop him? What were they talking about?
Right.
Why is this and you keep hearing the word systemic. So it's like he only apologized because he got caught.
Well, that's everybody.
That's the only reason anybody
does,
apologizes for anything.
Well, here's my issue with Fox. See if you agree with this. We haven't talked about this, and we typically don't because we do it so we can debate this. But here's the challenge for me. Oh, self-righteous Fox. Really? Have you looked up and down some NFL rosters lately?
Oh yeah.
So you're talking about people who are participating, who you're featuring, who you're calling plays on, who you're interviewing, who have been convicted of crimes.
Well,
crimes.
And again, I mean, Nick Cannon comes to mind, somebody who was a big celebrity on Fox who came out and said some straight-out stuff that he was allowed to mea culpa for. again, it's a case by case thing. But I
It
would
is.
tell you this. Here's my feeling.
Yes, give me
and
your
it's funny
take.
because I saw Doc is on board. He said he can't seem to get away from us. We're going to drag you out here one night, Doc.
Oh, yeah.
You will be a special
Now, wait
guest.
a minute. You think he's driving from where he lives out to here? We'll have to meet him somewhere.
Yeah, that's true. We
There's
might have
no
to
way
meet
in
you and
hell
do
he.
this from a
When was the
remote
last time he
location.
crossed the river?
That's a good point. I'm not sure he knows where it is. But here's what here are my thoughts. You and me, and this goes sort of back to some of the George Floyd stuff. And now there's a new, is it Minnesota? There's a new shooting.
Kenosha, Wisconsin.
Wisconsin. There's a new shooting that's going to become the new leader in the clubhouse with regard to what's going to happen.
And I just saw a bit of that today, and I'm like, I mean, from a cop standpoint, are you serious?
Yeah, you got to be kidding me.
Right.
Here we go again. But
yes,
that on a side note, that continued to happen based on all of the fantastic progress that has been made since the George Floyd situation, which we are going to take a moment here to list all of the things that have been done effectively since then, if you would. Okay, here we go.
I think we're good. Yeah,
so we're good. So anyway, but with regard, you and I cannot sit or stand here and say we understand what it's like to be on the receiving end of what was heard on
right.
on
No,
the
you're
broadcast.
correct. Just like we said, right.
But for me to stand here and tell you that when I was 12, 13, 14 years old, that particular word didn't come flying out of my word hole because we used it as a way to, jab at each other or whatever. And after a period of time, it turned into other words. Well, what's so funny about words? There used to be a thing about sticks and stones, and so on and so forth. Again, certain words can hurt used in specific context with hate in your heart. Do I think Tom Brenneman has hate in his heart? Do I think he was stupid that he said that? Yes. Do I think he is a person that goes out and when he sees the beating of 3 transgender people in Texas and goes, hell yeah,
no,
I'm going to, who did that?
No.
Let me throw some money at it. No, I do not. So the people that are fit to sit down and discuss this with him are the people in the community that are the ones that are offended. I've seen many in the LGBTQ community come out and go, hey, he did it. Let's move on. Let's learn from this. And I think that's where we've stopped. We've halted our progress. We have quit learning from anything. We've quit learning from anything, from the statues coming down to the Marge shot. All of it, we're not taking the opportunities for teaching moments and using those effectively. I don't. And then when you get back to words, it's like a community saying, well, we're going to take that word and we're going to use that word. We're going to own it. And it's in hip hop and it's all this. You can't, I just don't think you can do that.
Here's the biggest issue.
Once you keep that word alive, you keep the opportunity because people that hate you, if you're in that group, aren't going to stop using it because you took it back. You know
Knowing
what I mean?
him, I mean, look, I hope he gets. I know you did, and I hope he gets another opportunity because I would agree with all that you just said. The only thing I would tell you though is, I think that this is what I think it comes down to. If he goes back, if they say they suspend him indefinitely, maybe the rest of the year, and he comes back next year. What is going to be the fallout from when they come back from a break and he says, Reds baseball is brought to you by? That's the issue.
Right.
That is what will determine. I know for a fact. This is how vain and ridiculous people in social media are today. I know a company that is a Red sponsor that literally was getting berated and deluged with negative comments after that on their social media platforms. To that, I would say to you ignorant asses sending that, what did they have to do? So the immediate assimilation is, well, they must be, supporting Tom Brenneman and what he says. Come on, people. Lighten up.
Again. Right. And you know what? I would tell you that as to your earlier point about people making what would be considered a mistake, you can determine the level of the mistake to whatever level you are involved in the cause. Okay?
Right.
You know what I mean? It's to dismiss it as just it's hilarious. It's not.
Right. No.
It's not. It is not something that you cannot take seriously, but it's something that certain people can take seriously and can get together with and learn and teach from it And who better to be a spokesperson for that fix now than him?
The other phrase I can't
use that to your benefit.
The other thing, and you just said it, I can't stand. A mistake to me is I should have turned right and I went left.
Right.
When you say something like that, that's not a mistake.
No,
it's not.
No. It is part of your vernacular.
It is
part of what the discussions that you have, and so on and so forth. Again, I say when I was a teenager, we went to different things. There are different ways that you kind of poke and whatever at each other. But somebody would say, well, you shouldn't use a certain group of people as a way to poke. Well, then and now are different times. I'm not saying that that's an excuse, but what I'm saying is we learned and then we decided, okay, that's not right anymore. Not going to make that part of the vernacular anymore. And that was an opportunity to learn because I got to know different people and I got to understand what that means to them. But again, the number of times, and I go back to, there's another word that is in so many songs, and it's almost every other word in every Quentin Tarantino movie on screen, okay? It's the N-word. It's also in almost every hip-hop song to the nth degree,
right?
No pun intended.
Oh, right.
And who's filling up those concert halls? 15-year-old white girls. And they're singing those songs, and they're buying those tickets, and they're buying those albums. And then everybody in the Tarantino movie is given a hard pass because it's a movie, but a couple of white sorority girls on campus are doing a talent show, not in blackface, but doing a talent show where they said the word or lip-synced the word, and they were vilified and kicked off campus. So I'm just having a hard time understanding where the where the culpability lies.
So
in this particular scenario, and that's where I say, if you want a word to stop being used, stop using it. Stop. You don't own it. Quit using it. Just how about we just stop?
What do you think happens in the end to Tom?
With Tom, I think he is on a Marv Albert trajectory. I think. Like I said, I wish he would meet with people from the community and have that opportunity to be the perfect spokesperson to come out and go, here's the way that I was thinking was wrong. Here's what I said that was wrong. Here's what I've learned, and here's what you should learn from this. And I think it should be faster. But I think he's a decade removed from being back to the sort of politician or actor. I'm sorry, I'm stepping out of screen. I'm tilting off the edge of the flat earth. That's a whole other show.
I think the other issue I've heard
mean?
from people is I've heard that when he says, and I'm not saying this, I'm hearing people, I'm a man of faith.
Yeah.
The natural comment from that would be, if you were a man of faith, you would never use a word like that.
Yeah.
So
agreed. And it's all gonna. Ultimately, you and I both know it's not as much a matter of time. It's all gonna come down to money.
Well, and here's what I hope. I mean, again, I hope when you look at athletes and you look at other people and organizations who have made mistakes, they've been given other opportunities. To me, one word, I have a hard time saying that should end your career.
I will tell you this: Michael Vick sits behind a desk to this day
because
he quote unquote paid his dues for what he did. He acted upon his belief. Viciously, and he was given another shot because people said he paid the price. Well, he went to jail. The price for this may not be jail, but the price may be sit down and have a hard conversation.
Professional jail.
Well, he's in professional
jail. He is
jail
right now.
But the price for this, the sentence would be, in his case, sit down and learn something and then become the spokesperson to talk about what you've learned.
But what about Michael Irvin?
Every time I see Michael Vick.
What about Michael Irvin and Ray Lewis?
Ray Lewis. I know. I mean, but again, they paid their dues. They paid their price. And so let's move on. I mean, I would say to cut with two different sides of that blade would be unfair. Do I think that it hurt some people? I do. Do I think it hurt as many people as people think? I think some people that I know in the community kind of laugh it off and go, oh, boy, he really stepped in it. You know what I mean? But that doesn't mean there's hate in his heart. And I would tell you that I don't think that he actively is out there to persecute a community that should take this opportunity, which I would tell you is not always done, and learn from it and have him be the point person for that learning. That's all I can say. I don't even know if what I meant to say came out, but
time to move on.
That's where I'm at. Absolutely. All right, let's move on. Where were we going to move on to? Oh, the wine. Oh, yeah. I don't have the bottle. I can't reach the bottle. The Gamble wine. There's a Gamble wine out there.
Right.
That the missus found.
Yeah, this is pretty interesting,
This
actually.
at Costco, right? This was at Costco. She came home with this prize as like a trophy. It's like, it's okay. You can be on. It's a Gamble wine from the Gamble family vineyards. And the
How about
vintner,
this is pretty funny.
The vintner, and I guess that's his picture, is Tom Gamble.
Yeah, how about that?
That's insane.
Well, and
she wants to know if you have a little something going on the side.
Well, she ought to know this. I hate wine. I would no more drink a glass of wine. I'd almost rather drink chilled urine. I can't stand wine. It's gross.
Okay.
So no.
Well, so there you go.
There you
There's
go.
That.
But no, when she brought that home, that's cool. I mean, I had no, and trust me, not related.
Didn't she just bring this home yesterday?
Yeah, she has a few glasses during the evening. Yeah, it might be.
This was yesterday. This came home.
I think she just poured it out so we had an empty bottle.
Yeah,
so
I'm sure that's what happened.
The bottle right
into her belly. All right, so it's time for show and tell.
Uh-oh.
Do we still have the cool graphic, or is that blowing up in our face this week? We got it? All right, Romper Room, let's roll. And we're back. I dig that. I like that.
Yeah,
I like that graphic, and I like the song. I think that's really.
I don't know whether do I have to. Is it mine? Is it shown on this? Do I have to get it?
Yeah, it'll be shown on the screen.
Nah, see, I'm not getting up.
Oh, you're not going to pick it up?
No.
I carried it out here for you.
Well, I appreciate you.
What a
Will you
sack.
Will you carry it in?
All right. Well,
you go first.
No, all right.
You want me to go first? I don't care.
Whatever. Good Lord. All right. This.
Yes.
About a year ago.
What is that?
About a year ago when I had my car wreck.
I know what this is.
I had to get 5 pins put in my hand. Hang on, let me see how this. I forget how it went. Like
what
this.
the hell? What kind of show and tell item is this?
Well, I'm wait till you see the thing I bring next week from my colonoscopy.
Oh, great.
Hang on. This was something that was made and remade almost weekly for me. It was so I didn't have to have a full cast.
Right.
But there was a part of it that bowed out here for the pins, and then there was a pin that went right down between 3 and 4. So I wore this for at least 8 weeks. And right when it came off, we at Bogart's, we happened to have Howard Jones come into play from the 80s.
Yep.
And his biggest hit,
I recognize the
song
name,
that turned me on to him was Things Can Only Get Better. So I thought, who better
You
to
had him
have
sign
sign this than him? So I believe it's up on the screen, but this is it. And it's signed to Finn, Howard Jones. He did not write Things Can Only Get Better because his wife was hustling him away from the meet and greet. But I thought if there was ever a time to understand, and a year ago was that time,
how about that?
Things Can Only Get Better,
you know
why
why
not have Howard Jones?
You know why he didn't write that? Because he knew.
He knew better.
He knew better
Things can
than
only
things
get
can only get
shittier.
worse. Yes. So should I get it or can I just show it?
You can show it. I don't care.
All
Do
right. So I
whatever
got
you
two.
want. All right.
I got two in honor of the Skyline Chili Crosstown Showdown. I've got the framed poster of our 20-year anniversary, which we basically had a compilation. We produced a new poster. We didn't this year because didn't know, frankly, until very recently if it was going to happen. So we produced. This is a collage. We have a great designer, Diane Glebe from Design Matters, the name of her company, and we have.
Oh,
what?
Man, oh man! Look at you. You're the worst. You're the worst. Oh, here, I'll hold it while you. Here.
So there you go. So it's 20th anniversary, had a special logo, and these are all the posters of the previous 19. So kind of cool. So I'm excited. High school football, love it. Great area, great event, great support. Love the folks at Skyline Chili, Mercy Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, Meyer. They've all been there for a long, long time. There you go. Got to get them in, man.
Great. Well done.
All right, now from the showdown to we'll promote Catherine Nero, who's going to be on with us Wednesday.
Wednesday, yes.
Talking about the pivot where she has multiple jobs. This is another job I'm going to have soon. The family is. It doesn't pay. In fact, it costs you. And that is to have a dog. So we picked our dog. We selected our dog from Maryville, Tennessee. And this is the future. This is a picture of future Fidge.
Oh, okay.
So we've actually got this is
nice.
Fidge. So Very small. We pick Fidge up kind of September 13,
Ish.
14, 15-ish in there, drive Fidge back, and then reality sets in.
And then it becomes your dog, and you walk
Yes.
it, and you raise it, and
Yes.
everything. The other 4 people in the house ghost you.
Fidge will be stumbling off the deck, and it is funny when they're that young because they struggle.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, sometimes they can't stay upright.
Yeah.
I mean, but no, it's looking forward to it. Perfect time to have Fidge, so there you go.
Now, I would tell you, that's our show and tell. As always, we want to invite you to show off something that you've got. Gamble A&D Fin. It's the only different one of those. I don't know why I set it up that way, but I did. Gamble and A&D Fin at gmail.com. If you have something you want to show off.
And it's about the story, too. The
Yeah,
story
send the
behind it. That's
story.
hence the tell.
Yeah, send the picture so we get to show, and then send the story so we get to tell. I'll tell you something right now. These bugs are biting me to death, so we got to hurry this up. So feel free, if you got something you want to show off, we'll be more than happy to feature it on an upcoming show. You mentioned Fidge and the future, who is now current Fidge.
Yes.
Speaking of the future, Wednesday night,
Oh,
Catherine
yeah.
Nero, who has, over the last 2 years, completely taken her persona, pivoted, and turned
Yeah.
it into another cottage industry that is Catherine Nero, Inc.
Yeah, and if you're somebody out there who's thinking, man, this time isn't going so good,
Yeah.
and maybe you've been thinking about doing something different, I think she'll provide you with some motivation.
Yeah, I think
and,
some inspiration on how she did it. And
Yep.
so we look forward to doing that. We're going to have some more special guests and
Yep.
some extra episodes. We're looking forward to doing that as the Reds continue to figure out whether or not they're going to make the playoffs. We know when we're going to be here and when we're not.
including a week from this Wednesday, it'll be one Andy Furman.
Oh, the
How
fur
about
ball.
the fur ball? Yes.
That's right. Yeah, we try to keep these to 30 minutes,
Right,
but we'll see
that
what
one's going to
happens.
be extended. It'll be a lot of fun. We'll talk about his career in both crazy PR stunts, radio, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, there's one story in particular you mentioned to me before we went on that I can't wait to hear
Oh,
about.
yeah.
Now, again, a lot of
Yes.
this is talking about pivoting and what you're going to do next and all the different elements you add to your skill set and what you're going to do. One of the other things we've talked about doing,
Yep.
which we did last week at Starlight Drive-In, was we take the show on the road, the Reality Check Road Show. Well, we've got a couple of them coming up. We're trying to work out the details on a couple, but one we know is Monday, October 12th, and it has everything to do with puppies, specifically mine. Calvin from the League for Animal Welfare. It's going to be a Puppies and Pints night that we're going to be doing to raise money for the League for Animal Welfare. We're going to be out on site. We'll tell you more about that. But that's
Yeah.
the whole point of this. We really have been lucky to have this venue to do this, but we really want to bring it out to you
Yeah.
as we can. So that's part of our big pivot. We're looking forward to doing that. I would tell you if we can turn this thing into an audio portion podcast where you can
Yep, I
listen
know
back
people
to it.
have
People
yes.
have asked about that, so we're going to try to do that as well, even though we've ripped other places for doing the accent thing. Pivot. Oh, was that Lisa? Yeah. We have a drinking game too that, unbeknownst to us, goes on during the show every week as well. But I think that's it, Fred. I am
Yeah.
getting to just
Yeah, there are some bugs out
eat
here
the
now. It's
death out
bad.
here. Well, when you have such beautiful flowers,
Yeah.
you're going to have those kind of bugs.
All right, so we're not on this Thursday,
Nope.
but don't forget to join Wednesday at 7 for our first special guest,
Yep.
Catherine Nero. I
Yep.
think you'll enjoy that.
Pivot, 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 shot,
Yes.
shot, shot, drunk, drunk,
There
drunk.
you go. But we're back at this very time, too. So Wednesday with Catherine Nero, next Monday. Same time, same place. Don't forget, like, share, and don't forget to subscribe to our customized URL on YouTube.
Absolutely. You'll find us here on Mondays and on those special editions. He's Gamble. I'm Finn. Have a great rest of your night. Enjoy your Monday, and we'll see you next time.
You got it. See ya.
Cheers.